What's the deal, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss Honey. Welcome back, everybody, to my channel. Thank you to everyone who checked me out yesterday, my Queen Sugar Season 2, Episode 1 opener review. I appreciate everyone who hit me up down below in the comments and the DMs on IG and Twitter and just told me how much you appreciated the review, the details of it, and supported me in my emotionalism. You guys know I am super duper tender hearted, which is why I do not watch the news because I take everything personally. Queen Sugar Season 2, Episode 2, To Usward is the name of this episode. This episode opens with Darla. Darla is at work. You guys know she works at like a toll booth or a parking deck or a parking garage or whatever, taking people's money, and up rolls Ralph, Angel, and Blue. They are out running errands and they decide to stop by and see her and get a little sugar. And she's happy to see them, and they bring her a special little treat. You guys know that I absolutely love a good looking man, but more importantly, I love a thoughtful man. I love a thoughtful man. Means a lot. Well, he brings her beignets and a cup of coffee just to let her know he was thinking about her, and he also asked her out for a date. Since she want to take things slow, he want to take her out that night, and it's a cute moment. Just a sidebar here. Does anyone else think that Blue looks a lot like YouTuber Alexander Rogers? Is it just me? Is it? Let me know. Put it down below. Oh my gosh, to me he looks just like Alexander Rogers, but I digress. So then we see Nova, and Nova is having this community rally for the bail bond fund. And basically, it is about raising money so that when people are arrested and put in jail, they can't afford the bond. They will use a bond fund to bail them out. And this is important because we know that a lot of people are harassed or harangued, and they go to jail, and they end up with the $800, $1,200 bond that they can't pay because they're middle class and they're living paycheck to paycheck, just making ends meet. And they end up losing their job. They end up losing their home, their car, because they lost their job and can't afford to keep it. And so, this is an important cause. She goes into the barbershop. She's put these cans all over in order to raise these funds. He gives her the cans, and it's partially empty. There's nothing in there. And she just sort of pricks the heart of all the gentlemen in the barbershop. A barbershop full of beautiful, melanated males, young and old. And your girl is here for it, okay? Your girl is here for it. I was like, oh, where is this barber shop? I need to make me some pies to take in there to sell. Oh, I need to get me some fish plates to take in there so I can. Hey, y'all, I just got a little hot fish and grits. Oh, I digress. Anyway, the men start to give, and so the barber takes the can back and he says, just leave it, I'll make sure. And she's like, oh, no. And in this moment he kind of steps in a little bit. He wasn't doing it on purpose. He was just kind of reaching around her to get something, and she is just like, okay. Now y'all know Nova got her guard up. She got a guard up. She's like, I don't have time for love right now. I don't have time for feelings right now. I do not have time for this. All right. He tells her, I'm going to keep the can. Tells all the guys in the shop all the tips I wanted in this can. And she's like, no, y'all don't have to do that. That's not necessary. And he says, no, I want to do this. Come back a little bit later and gets it. So when she comes back a little bit later to get that can, he expresses to her and also gives her a little bit more money in the can, that he likes her. He likes the way she looks. He'd like to help her out a little bit more. If she needs anything, call him. It's all very nice. It's not obnoxious. He's not pushing up on her. He just says, "You're a beautiful woman. You're a beautiful spirit. I'd like to get to know you a little better." And she lets him down real easy. Now, I'm sure some people are going to say, "Okay, well, you messing with all these white dudes, but a brother try to push up on you and then you act like you don't want to talk to the brother." I don't think that's it. I don't think that Nova wants to hurt this man. I think she considers him valuable and she considers him important. And she knows she's not in a place to reciprocate what this man is trying to give her. And so, as opposed to putting him through all this rigmarole, she says, "Let's just keep it as friends." In other words, you don't want me right now. You don't want me right now. You do not want me right now. Right now, I'm on one, basically. Okay? And that's how I feel about it. You tell me what you guys think about it down below. Okay? We also see, with regards to Nova, that, later on she's having this rally and she gives a very, very impassioned speech about being intimidated by the cops and the need for this community bond fund. And it is so moving and touching that um that Micah, after having gone through this sort of soul searching journey all throughout this day, walking through the city and all of that, he comes upon this rally after seeing the posters and wanting to reconnect with his aunt. um and he's moved and he's touched. And it is at this moment that I think Micah realizes he can now talk about his story, because he's hearing all these speeches. He's seeing all these people, these melanated people who have similar stories about themselves or their family members that have gone through some of the same things he's gone through. And so there's this moment where he realizes, this is where I'm supposed to be. And when she looks down off that stage and she sees his face, she runs to hug him and just try to hold him and nurture him and love him in his broken place. And Micah breaks and starts crying. It's a beautiful, beautiful moment, okay? It's a moment about connecting and finding, and you know, being able to relate. Yeah, being able to relate as a community, as a people. All right. We also see Nova talking to Aunt Vi early on in the day, and she talks to Aunt Vi about Micah, about thanking Vi for making the hors d'oeuvres for the rally that night, the food. I think they're going to sell these little pies and stuff like that. And she checks on Micah and she goes in. This is before the rally. She goes in and talks to Micah and just says, "I don't know what those police officers said to you, and I don't know what happened to you in jail, but I want you to know that I'm here for you. And anytime you need to talk, I'm here for you." Now, we're seeing this is a common thing. They're not forcing Micah to talk. They're just letting him know that we are here. And so later on, when he comes to this rally and he hears her speech and she looks into his eyes, she realizes he's ready. She's ready. He's ready. And she goes to meet him and she is truly there for him. So great moment. We see some real beautiful moments from Nova in this episode. So let's talk about Charley. Charley is getting ready for the day. She's about to take Michael to school, and Nova and Aunt Vi learn simultaneously that Charley is worried about the loan and investment to get the mill up and running. The harvest will be in, and she wants to have this mill up and running by the time harvest comes. But also, they learned that this is the last day of divorce mediation between her and Davis, and they want to go. That, "Why don't you tell us? We want to support you." And she says, "No, I want to do this on my own." So her and Michael leave and go to drop off Micah at school. She gets to her mediation hearing and she has a little pep talk with her lawyer. And as she gets to the door of the boardroom, she goes in where Davis and his lawyer and the mediator is sitting, and we see her take a deep breath, look up, square her shoulders back, look straight ahead, get that steely, let's do this look in her eyes as she goes in. She's in shark mode, okay? What you need, I have no movement on my face. Excuse me, can I help you? What are we doing? Where do I sign? Let's get this done and get this over with. But before the mediator can get going good, Davis wants everybody to leave but Charley. He wants to talk to her privately. Now we know it's about to be something because the music changed. It moves into the soundtrack moves to this place where it's kind of trepidatious. So we like, oh hell, what's going on? I think he knows about the fact that she has signed his signature. And I'm like, Charley, oh, what the fuck? You don't do this, Charley. This is why. But no, this is not what he wants. It's not about property, because she goes into that. Is this about the house in the Aspen or the house in California? All of our assets are here. So what do you want? What you want more property? And he's like, you think this is about property? And she's like, well, I mean, you ain't shit, David. So what could it really be about? That's how she was acting. And he says it's about Micah. I want joint custody. And she's like, absolutely not. Don't be ridiculous. Don't be ridiculous. And I'm like, what's the harm? What's going on? It's not like he's in another country. But she does not want to hear it. See, this is something else Charley feels like she is losing. Control. Never gonna stop. Control. Till I get what I want. Control. That's Janet Jackson, in case you don't know. Anyway, sounds a little different when she sings it. So, and he tells her, listen, everything that happened with the police, everything that went on, I need to be there for Micah. I need to spend more time with him. She was like, well, stop spending all your time with doing other things and tricking off with these Beckys out here, and spend more time with your son. Easy peasy, duh. And he's like, you know what? I'm not going to go through this with you. I want joint custody. I want to reapproach this part of the deal. And I've already talked to Micah, and Micah agrees. And it's like a blow to her chest. See, because for a lot of women, when they get divorced from men and they're angry with these men because these men have hurt them, they use their children as allies. It's Micah and I, and you leave and go on about your business. And me and Micah, me and my children gonna be fine. Me and my children gonna be together. But here's a man who wants to be a part of his son's life, and I think to a certain degree, Charley, you kind of owe that to him. So what are we doing? And when she learns that he's been talking to Micah, he's like, yeah, we've been talking. She is gut punched. And when the mediator hears how loud it's getting and they come running back into the room, Charley gets her stuff and gets the hell on. Yeah, she was low-key stunned. Because it was kind of like Micah and Davis conspiring behind her back. Why didn't anybody tell her? And Charley had the same problem in season 1. Y'all remember, they made all these funeral arrangements without her, and she felt like she was being left out. This is a little bit more of this. Remember, she felt left out of the whole Davis thing. Y'all remember how she found out Davis was cheating on her? It was like at the game, on the news, on the Jumbotron. So she has a problem with not being included and being left out. So she leaves. She goes to the school. Like, you finna interrupt his school day to talk about this girl? What is going on, Charley? Slow down. But she doesn't find Micah at school because, like I said, Micah is in a real troubled place. So he is out trying to just find himself, find out what he want to do, where he belong. Who am I? What's going on? What's it all about? This crazy world we live in. This is how he ends up at Nova's rally. And, when she calls him, she's like, hi, baby, where are you? Well, he's 16 years old. And it is time for him to come to terms with some things about who he is as a melanated individual, as a child of divorce, as a stranger in a new city. Uh, he's not exactly your baby anymore. And so when he tells her, she says, I'm at school. I know you're not at the school. It's all very calm. She's not fussing. She just wants to know where he is. Talk to me. Tell me what's going on. He's not there yet. He needs a moment. And so she eats it. And she says, okay, baby, but just call me later on tonight. And as soon as she gets off that phone, she breaks because she's losing control of everything. And for a control freak, it's the end of the world, right? So later on, we see that Charley calls her mom. This is one of the few times, one of I think 2 or 3 times that we've heard about Charley's mom. And, there was a lot of speculation in the comment section in season 1 about who's Charley's mom was and what's going on with that whole situation. And that's still yet to be developed. We don't get to hear Charley's mom's voice on the voicemail because her mom doesn't pick up. It's one of those canned greetings. But she leaves a voicemail, and when she starts the voicemail out, it's kind of cold and callous, and then when she begins to talk, she almost turns into a little girl. You used to always make me feel better, and I just wanted to talk to you and tell you I've kind of had a hard day. And it was like she came to herself and sucked it up and went right back to being kind of cold and callous and businesslike and straight to the point. So call me when you get this message. I'll talk to you later. Goodbye. And you just like, what's going on, Charley? What's going on with your mama? What's happening right now? What we need a little bit more. So that's a pending. Let's wait to see what we hear from or about Charley's mom. And right after that, we see Charley leave and go and talk to Remy. Now, she can't get Micah. Nova's at the rally. Aunt Vi's out. She can't get her mama on the phone. And Remy has always been a pillar of strength and beautiful muscles for her. And so we see she goes over to Remy's house. Now we are going to put a pin in Charley and Remy right there because we are going to end this review as they ended the show with Remy and Charley. So put a pin in that. All right, so let's talk about Aunt Vi. Aunt Vi is running the hell out of the high yellow. Of course, there are some snafus that are going on, but for the most part, everything is great. She's feeling good, feeling fine. Y'all know she reconnected with Hollywood last episode, and they're going to try to work it out as soon as he gets back from off of this rig. He works on an oil rig, and it's gonna be on and popping. Y'all already know when your man's out of town and you expecting him, in walks Ralph Angel. All right. And Ralph Angel's having a day. He's having a moment. He needs a little help. He needs to leave Blue there because he's gonna take Darla out on a date, and he's got to do some couple of things, and he needs her to watch Blue. And she's like, okay, yeah, fine. Later on, we see her and Nova talking with Charley. They want to join Charley in her mediation. They want to go with her, but no, that's not possible. She wants to do it on her own. Aunt Vi has made some tasty treats for the rally for Nova. Okay. And everything's going really, really good until she talks to this waitress. It's either Rebecca is the waitress name. I forget the waitress's name, but she's the waitress that kind of hit on Hollywood last season, and I had to snatch all her edges about messing with her man. And she's still working there at the High Yellow, and she says, she's got this ominous look on her face, and Aunt Vi's like, what are we talking about? What's going on? And she's like, well, I don't know if you heard. It was something electrical that happened on the rig that Hollywood is on. And Aunt Vi's like, spit it out. And she's like, well, I don't know. Aunt Vi's like, girl, if you don't start talking. And she said, I think there was an explosion. And Aunt Vi's like, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. She gets on that phone and she is calling Hollywood, and the phone is ringing, and she's like, "Okay, baby, pick up." And it rings and rings, and she said, "Hollywood, I need you to pick up." And it rings and rings and rings, and she's like, "Hollywood, honey, pick this phone up, please. Pick it up." And of course, y'all know I'm a Hollywood fan. I'm diehard Hollywood, okay? I go down swinging for Hollywood. So I'm like, pick up Hollywood. Pick it up, Hollywood. Don't do this, Hollywood. Do not do this, Hollywood. Go straight to voicemail. Vi devastated. I'm devastated. What's going on with Hollywood? Okay, don't do this, Ava. Don't do this, Oprah. Don't do it. Don't do it. Not my Hollywood. Don't do it. Okay, but let's put a pin in that too. We're going to pick that up a little bit when we talk about Remy and Charley a little bit later on. Let's go ahead and talk about Ralph Angel. This is a really good episode with Ralph Angel and Darla. They after Ralph Angel leaves from asking Darla to go out, he goes to the seed mill, the seed store, and he wants to get a price on some really, really great organic soybean seeds. And Cyrus, I think it is going to give him a price. Meanwhile, while he's haggling about price, Blue runs over, grabs a little barrel and takes out some food and starts feeding these little chickies. And Ralph Angel's like, "Blue, to get out of people's stuff. Don't be touching folks' stuff. You know, I told you about touching stuff when we go in the store." And Blue is like, "No, this is what I'm supposed to do, Dad. You're actually out of order." I'm telling you, that is little Alexander Rogers. So, um, and Cyrus tells him, no, he's doing right. He's fine. He knows what to do because Ernest, Papa Bordelon, used to bring him all the time. And there's this moment. I mean, we're already seeing just everyone being really, really proud and saying telling Ralph Angel how proud Papa Bordelon, Ernest Bordelon would have been of him or is of him. And we can see that Ralph Angel is so much like his dad, not just in physical appearance, but as well as in spirit. Like he's really, really coming into his own and becoming the man that Ernest always wanted him to be. And in this moment, when he realizes he's following unknowingly in the same footsteps that his dad did, having these same ambitions and hopes for their farm and their land. And his dad did the same thing and brought Blue along. And now he's doing those same things and he's got Blue with him. And so it's a moment. It's a really, really good moment. Gets a good price on this soybean, heads off to the bank, he and Blue, and they are going to pull the money out of the bank to get the soybean. Bank man tells them, "Listen, hey, here's the problem. Love to give it to you. Pull the money out, no problem. Except there's been some changes to the signature protocol." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" "Yeah. So you have to get another signature before you take any money out. And a signature of a Charley West." Ralph Angel's face dropped because here we are again. We're right back at it, okay, where Charley is trying to be in control, okay, trying to control him. So he can't do anything without going through her. And Ralph Angel's humiliated. He is, but he's changed quite a bit, okay, from season one. He's got a little bit more control over his emotions, and he goes and decides that he is, he and Blue leave up out of there. They head off to the High Yellow where he asks Aunt Vi to keep Blue for the day, and she agrees. And as he is leaving, he doesn't tell her about Charley. He doesn't try to garner her side on it at all. Now he does say he's looking for Charley. He wants to talk to her, and Aunt Vi wants them to work it out, but that's the extent of it. Before he leaves, he sees Remy, and Remy is a male, a farmer, a friend of his father's, and he likes Charley. This is a person he wants to talk to. So he sits down, he has the conversation. It's a really, really good conversation. And Remy tells him, "Hey, listen, For Charley, it's all about this meal. She is focused on this meal. And there's nothing else she's gonna do. What else can I tell you? It's all about the meal. And Ralph Angel says, I wanted to plant some soybeans. And Remy kind of smiles and he says, good idea, man. That sounds a good idea. You more and more like your daddy every day. Your daddy was the same way, always looking to, use the land, work the land, till the land. And Remy says, yeah, but I don't have the money to buy the seed. He said, well, why don't you go to this farmers association? They give loans to small business farmers. And he says, well, man, I got a record. I got this. I got that. And he says, don't worry about all that. As long as you haven't grown some illegal crop or been charged with growing some illegal crop on your farm, they'll give you the loan. And so Ralph Angel said, you think so? He said, yeah. He said, that way I could do it myself. And Remy said, you could do it yourself. All right. So Ralph Angel takes off. He's going to go down there. But before that, he sees Nova. And, Nova's on a high. She's having a good, happy spring, summer day. And she wants to chit chat and talk. And he's got to go. She wants to give him a flyer. Come to the rally. I got to go. I don't have time for this. See, here's the thing. We saw this in season 1. They are family, siblings, but they all have their own lane. Ralph Angel is trying to forge his own way as a farmer, in his father's shadow, as a dad, as a possible husband for someone. He wants to be successful and work this farm. He's grabbing a hold of thing that's in his blood, and he's very focused and single-minded. He don't have time to focus on what Nova's focused on. Nova's in this activism. She is putting love aside. She's putting having children aside, being married aside, being this traditional woman aside, everything aside in order to be who she is and what and really, really make a difference in our community. That's her. And she really doesn't have a lot of time to lend to Charlie's situation or to Ralph Angel's situation either. She's there popping in and out for encouragement, but they all got their own thing. Charlie trying to forge her way. I don't need Davis's money. I'm smart in my own right. I can run a business. I can be successful. I can turn this thing around. I can do it single-handedly. You know what I'm saying? Bring home the bacon and fry it up in the pan. All right, I can do all of this. So she's not being considerate of Ralph Angel's dreams and goals and hopes. And same thing with Nova. She's not being considerate of those things either. She's very single-minded in doing what they all are. But until something happens where they have to, same thing in first season, they have to break and come together. It's going to be this constant passing, slight inconsideration of one another's feelings, and it's just going to continue. Okay, so Ralph Angel goes down. He applies for the loan. They really feel like they can get it done. They just have to have a couple of more things, which he's going to work on getting. But we still see that he is in a position where he has to go through Charley because he has to have a title for the property as well as a letter from his employer. So he's going to still have to go through Charley. He'll figure that part out, right? Takes Darla and Little Blue to dinner because Aunt Vi cannot, focus on taking care of Blue. She's worried about Hollywood. So they're at dinner. They're having great conversation. And we see in season 1 where they were just getting back together. And shout out to my subscriber who corrected me. It's not 2 years later. I was confused because I thought that Darla came back right when she first got clean. And for her to say she was clean 2 years, I felt like it's been 2 years since, all of this happened. But it wasn't. And that was I wasn't thinking. When you watch a lot of reality TV, when you get back to quality scripted programming, you kind of have to deprogram yourself from those reality TV timelines and storylines that just don't make sense. And, so it hasn't been 2 years, all right? It's been 2 years since Darla has been clean, but she was clean a good little stretch before she came back into Ralph Angel and Blue's life, all right? So let's just be clear on that. My bad. And thank you to my subscriber for clearing that up for me. All right, so in prior seasons, they had this tension between them where they talked at each other. And we see in this season, these first two episodes, there is um, conversation where they talk together and they communicate together. Even in their shortcomings, they learn how to talk to each other and correct each other in a way that is more loving and nurturing and caring. And I like to see this between Darla and Ralph Angel, because Ralph Angel needs encouragement, and Darla needs support, and they both have the capacity and the ability to do that for each other and be there for each other. Um, and we see this moment where after the waiter makes a snide comment about Kenya, which this is the first time we've seen Kenya for season two, which is Blue's little Barbie doll, which you guys already know my theory about Kenya. Kenya really represents Darla because Blue went for a very long time without Darla, and I think Kenya was his way of connecting with Darla, and she kind of represented Darla to him, a mom to him. He still whispers in Kenya's ear very, very loud. Not much like a whisper at all. But the way he makes a comment about, is that your doll? And Blue says yes. And he says, you should try the new Transformer doll. They're pretty cool. And Ralph Angel takes offense. So in his offense, he orders two sundaes. He orders one for Blue and one for Kenya, and it's kind of just to spite the waiter. Well, he overextends himself. He does have enough of bill for the bill, but he doesn't have enough for the tip. And so um, Darla says to him, "We have to leave something. We have to leave something to show him that we are above that type of thinking and behavior." And he was like, "I don't care about that." She said, "You do want to set a good example for Blue," and Blue was like. So she leaves the tip, and he's like, "No, no, you don't have to do that." And she's like, "No, we together. I support you, you support me. Let's work through this thing together. You don't have, I have. I have, you don't. You know what I'm saying? Let's do this together." So it's a good moment, right? Later on, we see Ralph Angel call a loan office, and he's like, "Thank you so much for your help. It looks like things are a go. I'm going to get that letter from my employer as well as that title as soon as I can." And he's thinking to himself, how am I going to get this done with as little flack as possible? All right. And if she says no, what does that mean? Is that when we going to see him talk to her, to the sisters about the will? Remy, Charley, Aunt Vi, and Hollywood. So Charley is in this tailspin. She needs to talk to somebody. She needs a sounding board. She needs a place to drop all this heaviness. Shows up at Remy's door. He's there at the door like, "Hey, can I help you?" And she's like, "Yeah, well, of course, beautiful woman. She expects him to say, 'Hey, come on in,' but he's already had this conversation with her about getting a divorce before they get, move any forward in their relationship. Okay. And she's not really quite sure what she wants to say, or how to say it. And he says, "I generally don't entertain any company at all." And she says, "Oh, well, he says, "I generally don't entertain any company on the anniversary of my wife's death." And she's like, "Oh my gosh, I am so sorry." He said, "Well, you're here now. Come on in." And she comes in and she sees on the mantle the pictures of his wife, and we learned that his wife was in the Army Reserve. And while over in Kandahar serving, he said she loved to serve her country, and he had talked to her on the phone every night. And the night that the day she died, he had talked to her that day, and she seemed at peace and really, really happy. And then on her way to, I guess, do something, the truck that they were in hit an IUD bomb and IAD bomb, sorry, and blew up, and she was killed. He cries. It's emotional. Um, Very, very sad. Well, while he's telling this story, this narration plays over Vi being at the docking station where the buses come in from the dock, and she is watching male after male get off, and wives run up and hug and pick their family member up from the rig, and she is biting her nails and she is scared as hell because if Hollywood doesn't get off of this bus, it means something may have happened to him on this rig. Y'all know I'm waiting with bated breath too, because Remy is telling this narrative about what happened to his wife, this tragic story about her dying, and his last conversation with her being this positive, hopeful conversation, which is kind of the last conversation that Aunt Vi had with Hollywood. So I am feeling like, oh, don't do this, Ava. Don't do this, Oprah. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I can't lose Hollywood. No, ma'am. And at that moment, we see Hollywood get off that bus, you guys. Oh, I was so happy. Aunt Vi, she ran and jumped into his arms. He ran and picked her up, and I was like, oh my gosh, we gonna be together, Vi. Vi, we got our man back, and we gonna all three be together. Okay, so I mean, it's huge. All right. We also see go back to Remy, and this is how the episode ended. Remy and Charley, where he is having this conversation with her about, apologizing to her because he feels like because of everything that happened with his wife, um, he may have inadvertently rushed her, and she's the first woman that he's even wanted to remotely get to know. He said, "You're the first woman that I've wanted to know since my wife died." And y'all know that's old school. I'd like to know you. Now that's terms that means a lot of things. I like to get to know about you, and I want to know you in that way. All right. So he's saying a lot to her in that one statement. You're the first woman I've wanted to know since my wife passed. And just like whenever he talks, because he talks beautifully and eloquently, he's a very kind, gentle, thoughtful man. And in that moment, she is just like, yeah, she's stunned because it's what every woman wants to hear. He said, but I rushed you. He says, you need to mourn the loss of your marriage, and you need to push past anger and grieve before you can move forward. And that is how the episode ends, you guys. That is the end of it. That statement from Remy is how this episode ends. Now, what does this mean? What does this mean? Does this mean we're going to see less of Remy and more Davis? What does this mean? I don't know. Usually there is sort of like a cliffhanger, you know, a moment of suspense before it ends. Is this the moment of suspense? What are we to make of this? I'm not sure. You guys let me know what you thought about this episode. I liked it. I think we learned a lot in this episode. We got to see a little bit more with this whole Charley and her mom situation, and Charley and Remy. And we got to see some really, really great scenes from Ralph, Angel, and Darla. Okay, we got to see Kenya again. What did you guys think about, that connection between Nova and Micah at the rally? I'd like to know. Yay, Hollywood is safe, you guys. All right. Please remember to subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. Also, hit that like button. It lets me know that you like my content, as well as leave a comment below. Let's talk about it down below and hash out this episode, you guys. Really, really good episode. It's going to be an outstanding season, and I cannot wait to share every moment with you guys. Until next time, honeybees. I'll holla.